Oh, come on, give me a little bit back. Good evening, everybody. Much better. Okay, this evening, big surprise to those of you that know me, I'm going to start with a story. And the story begins about 7 years ago. Back then, in the early days of Rainmakers, we had a coffee shop. It was our place. Conveniently located at 86th and Keystone, Rainmaker members would routinely drive by Starbucks on their way to our coffee shop. Why did we go there? Well, first, the owner, Malcolm, was a Rainmaker, and we take care of our own. And Malcolm gave us a 10% discount. And the coffee was really good. But the real reason that we went to our coffee shop had nothing to do with any of those things. We went because it was where we could find other Rainmakers. When I wanted to catch up with Tony and his partner Doug, I didn't reach him on the telephone because, let's face it, guys, any of you who have tried to reach Tony on the telephone, you know just how difficult that is. Okay. Instead, I would simply drive by and look and see if his car was in the parking lot. And most times, it was. I would typically plan 2 hours for my one-on-ones. An hour to meet with whoever I had planned a meeting with, and an hour to talk to everybody else in the place. There was a lot of business that got done on the couch in that coffee shop. Howard used to hold court. I can still see him in front of the fireplace. I want to talk to you about that later. But we would do business there, we made connections there, we would vicariously just rub elbows with each other. And then one day, I drove into the parking lot, and the coffee shop was closed. And I was absolutely devastated. I was devastated because it was a part of how I did business. Back then, none of us had offices. That was my office. So a couple of thoughts ran through my head really quickly. First, damn, where am I going to have this meeting now? After all, it is all about me. Second thought was, I hope Malcolm is okay. And the third thought, I wish he had said something. Maybe we could have helped. Now, the reality was that 7 years ago, there were 100 Rainmakers. And we were already 40% of Malcolm's business. You do the math, 40%, 100 members, kind of give you a clue why that coffee shop didn't make. There wasn't a lot that we could have done back then. We didn't have the critical mass. We didn't have the momentum. We didn't have the connections in the business community. But that was then. And this is now. And today, as an organization of 1,600 members, with companies that are significantly more mature than we were 7 years ago, with way more connections in the business community, we can make a difference. We can change the course of a business if we choose to get behind a business that we care about. Now, on the surface, this is all very nice, and gee, isn't that good, and we should get behind all these businesses and we'll all feel better. Okay, fine, yeah, whatever. As a business owner, this isn't just nice to do. As a business owner, this is good for my business. When Des introduced me, she said she made a mention of the Indianapolis ecosystem. Our economy is a lot like an environment or an ecosystem. In that whole little petri dish world, what happens over here affects over here. This river gets polluted and you get sick. The same is true for a local economy. It is a self-contained ecosystem. When you lose a business over here, it ripples through the economy. The people who were most affected when Malcolm closed his doors were the people that were closest to that business, his employees and his suppliers, and they felt it most. But in a widening circle, there were people like me who depended on it. And in a widening circle outside of that, there was Rainmakers, the organization. When we lost that coffee shop, we lost something that we've really never recovered until now. With the puddle here, we've never had a place. And even now it's different because we're way more spread out, but we lost the ability to bump into each other in the hallway. When I was in corporate, more business got done outside the meeting room and at the water cooler. And those of you that are in corporate, you know what I'm talking about. That was our water cooler. And when that went away, it changed this organization. Now, we've gone on and we've grown and we've survived and we've moved our business to Starbucks. But we lost something along the way, and the greater Indianapolis community did as well. And so it's not just a nice to do, it is a must, because when you walk into a local business and you spend money, beyond the salaries and the supplies, that business owner is going to spend money in the community with other businesses who spend money with other businesses who spend money with other businesses, and sooner or later some of that money is available for you. When you walk into a national chain, when you walk into Starbucks, when you drive by Lulu's Coffee Shop or Hubbard and Craven, and you drive by the Bean Cup, which we're going to lose this week, and you go to Starbucks, yeah, a certain amount of the money stays in the community in salaries, and a large percentage of that money goes to Seattle. Now, don't get me wrong, I have nothing against the people of Seattle. These are nice people. I have a couple of friends who live there. But they're not sending me checks. Big show of hands, how many of you have done business with someone in Seattle in the last year? Okay, a few, so you can go to Starbucks. The rest of you, here's my deal. Until they start sending me money, I'm not sending them anymore. You want a list of local coffee shops because you don't know where to have your meetings? Talk to Eric. He put together a huge list last year on I Choose Indy. And it's not just the coffee shops. It is every single business. When you have an opportunity to do business locally, as opposed to doing business nationally, you're not just doing a good thing for someone else. You're increasing the chances that you're going to be in business next year.